Hey everybody, this is Mandy, and this is the Pages Management demo for Omeka S. Um, so we are starting out from your site, so click on your site, get in there, and Pages is right over here in this menu on the left. So we are going to go ahead and click on that. So now you get to see all of the pages that you already have in your digital library. And we are going to add a new page. Okay, and for the purposes of this demo, we're going to name it demo. The URL slug is the wording that shows up here in your URL. If you don't put anything, that's totally fine. There's no star next to it, but then you get some like random string of meaningless numbers and letters. And demo makes it a lot easier for your users to know where they are. Add to navigation, this is your choice whether you click it or not. You can add it later. The advantage to not adding it right away is that while you're building this particular page, you can hide it from your users and then add it to navigation later when it's ready to go live. So, but we are going to go ahead and add to navigation right now so you can see what that looks like. And now we're going to go ahead and view and see it's up here in navigation. And this is the title. And that's important because page title is right here. Page title, this block is not editable, not in here. Whatever is up here in title shows up in page title. If you decide that you don't want a page title, you can delete it. And as you see, it's gone. But demo 2 is still up here in navigation. If you deleted it and you're like, oh, that looks stupid, I really want it back, these are your blocks. Think of them like building blocks for your page. And page title is the second one down. So you just add it, and there it is. Okay, so everything that you are going to add to your page is right here. The most used probably are going to be HTML and media. So let's go over HTML first. We are going to go ahead and add it. I've got some text copied here so that you can see what that looks like. Okay. And the text editor, it's going to look a lot like Microsoft Word. Couple of differences. Source, you can click on that and you can actually edit the HTML. So if this text editor isn't really working for you and you want to get in there and manipulate the HTML, you can do that in here. Here's where you can add a hyperlink. This is an anchor. I've seen it also called bookmarks. What this is let's say you've got, think of like table of contents in a Kindle. That's the best that I can think of. They are hyperlinks within a document. So you've got chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then you set the anchors at the beginning of chapter 1, the beginning of chapter 2, beginning of chapter 3. And so here you can put in a hyperlink. Now if you want to do just a regular URL, you can, but you can put in chapter 1, and then link type is link to anchor in the text, and then you have to set the anchor beforehand. But that way, when you click on chapter 1, it actually skips to chapter 1. Yeah, I want to change that. I just wanted to show you how that worked. Here are some different font and styling options. You've got highlighter here and some other things. This says paste from Word. I keep getting errors that my browser won't allow it. So, I mean, maybe it'll work for you, but copy paste works just fine anyways. And then bold and some bullets and block quotes. You know, this is all great stuff. So we are going to go ahead and save this. Okay, so the other one that you're going to use quite a bit is media. Media allows you to add all of your library items. I've got 2 things in mind, so we are going to go add the only picture that I've uploaded so far. Caption shows up underneath the photo. Again, you can edit the HTML, and then it's got some other basic stuff here. If you want to put in a link, like where the picture came from, you can put that here. Please keep in mind that whatever you put under here is what the screen reader is going to read. So, if it's, woman standing on the street holding a sign that reads whatever, I can't remember what the sign reads, go ahead and put that in. So we're going to go ahead and apply changes. So you can change the size of the picture and how it appears on there. So large, medium, and square. Square is almost like a small thumbnail, like more what you'd think of as a thumbnail. I'm going to put large so you can see how big my picture got. I haven't played with this too much, so you might be able to get it bigger if you have a bigger photo. I tried to limit my download size to save space for Stasha. Thumbnail alignment, you can go left or right, and then you can either show the item title or the media title, like what you have in your metadata, or you can put no title. If you have no title, it will only show the caption that you put. So I want you to see what that looks like. So I'm just going to put no title for right now. So we're going to go ahead and put save there and view. And that is how big my photo turned out. You've got your text up here, and then you've got your photo here. You can change, left or right. I'm going to show you the different sizes real quick. There's medium. So there's medium. And let's do square. And it looks the same size on mine. I think I just have a really small picture, but you get the idea. Okay, so you can move all of that around. Now, if you put in more HTML below, and you save it, and you click view, and you're like, wait a second, I didn't mean for my picture to get all caught up in there. You can add a line break. And to rearrange the stuff, you just grab it until you get the little arrows, and then you bring it up. Oh, that didn't go that time. That doesn't want to work for me. Why isn't that working for me? There we go. It was just being stubborn. Okay, so now you can have a transparent line break, or you can have an opaque line break, and I'll show you what that looks like. And what that does is it puts in a separator, and we have a nice little line that goes across here now. Now a line automatically appears above and below the photo, so it's up to you if you want a whole solid line going across, or obviously transparent, there's just no line, it just puts in that break. So we're going to switch it back to transparent. But the line breaks are nice. If you want to space things out, you can put in multiples, all of that. So now we're going to go over a couple of these others in here. Browse preview. Browse preview can get a little interesting. It's kind of cool. I like it because we all have these libraries all on the same site, and all of our items are going to get all mushed up. So if people want to browse by individual item, they're going to get mythological creatures and westward expansion and dogs and the suffragette movement. So those are just the ones I can remember. So I think we've got some cultural art and other stuff flying around. Anyways, so resource type, you can go in here and set this so that it allows your users to browse just your items. Setting up the query is a little interesting. Let me open up a new tab here. You want to go into your items. So click on items, and then you're going to click on advanced search. And I am just going to select my item set. So I have an item set called Digital Library on Women's Suffrage Movement, and I add all of my items to that. So my items aren't floating out there in limbo. They are all under my item set, and I'm sure somebody else is going to cover that in a demo. But that's all I'm going to select. And then I'm going to click search. And it pulls up my 2 items because I added those to my library. What you're going to do up here is, here's this first part of the web address, and it starts right here where it's got the item and the question mark. You are going to make sure that you highlight that question mark, and then you are just going to keep on going. I know that's long. And then you're going to copy. And then you are going to come back here, and you are going to paste that in query. This is how many items you want to limit it to. Just depends on how much space you want to take up. Preview title. And link text. So however you want to do this, you can play with how you want it to look. But we are going to go ahead and click save. And I want you to see, oh, and that's what I was afraid of, sorry, because it is, we're going to do items. Sorry. There, collection items. So now if I had like 20, it's going to list the first 6, and then I can click on Browse All, and I can actually go to all of the items in my digital library. So that way my users don't have to look at everybody's items. They can just look at mine since they're on my site and interested in the women's suffrage movement. So yeah, so that is Browse Preview. I thought that was kind of cool. Item Showcase is a little bit more limited, a little bit more selected than Browse Preview. Browse Preview is everything in that query. So you can write a query that'll pull up anything about, like, let's say I just wanted the U.S. suffrage movement. So maybe I just wanted that. So you can limit your query however you want. However, with this you can pick actual items. So here you can add attachment, and we're going to go ahead and add this photo. You can add a caption, of course, apply changes, and then you can actually add another one. So I'm going to steal Stasha's postcard of a dog here. So that way you can see, so you can add different ones. So maybe you want to show, I don't know, specific examples of a certain kind of art, within your collection. You can do this here. And you can, again, show the item title, the media title, no title with just the caption. And you can select your thumbnail type. So we're going to go ahead and save and view. So you can see these are the 2 items. And see, that looks a lot different. Here it shows the full title, it shows the description, and that's under Browse Preview. This is just under what's it called? Sorry, the Item Showcase. Too many things going on. Okay, so let's clear out some of this just because it's getting very, very busy. Okay, so yes, you can delete items out. And just like everything else, you hit delete. If you're like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that, which, happens when you're up working on it late at night. You can undo, just, don't click save yet. um, so table of contents. Table of contents is if you have subpages, which they call child pages here. And that way you can show the child pages underneath that page. So that's what that's good for. And I do not have any child pages, so this is not useful to me at this time. But I'm planning on probably splitting things up into the US suffrage movement and the British suffrage movement, and I'm sure things will break down even further. So this might be really helpful to, let people, maybe they want to see everything underneath that particular page. Item with metadata. So this is going to show all of the metadata attached to a particular item. So we're going to pull out this table of contents, and we're going to save, and we're going to view. So this is my item, and then it shows all of the metadata that I have on that item. And yes, I know I probably am missing some things, but I just wanted to get it in there as best I could so I could use it as an example. So here's where these get interesting. These are modules. These aren't really blocks. These were extra functionality that were added to Omeka S. I'm assuming that Stasha and her husband added these. Universal Viewer is actually really cool, and I wish that I could have gotten it to work for you guys, but I did find a really nice example. I don't know what I was doing wrong. Maybe my images weren't large enough to be able to zoom. Maybe it's something on the back end, but I definitely, if this is something that you want to use, definitely get with Stasha and see about working out the bugs. It's not as simple. It's not as drag and drop, despite what it looks like when you're trying to do it. It's not as drag and drop as the others. So this actually kind of reminds me of in Ancestry, how you're able to zoom and zoom in and out and kind of move around on the document. So it's pretty cool. So if this is something that you feel would be really useful to your collection, definitely talk to Stasha. I'm not sure what the issues were with it, and of course I left that part for too long, so that I couldn't really get with her and figure out the glitches. Collecting, this is neat. This is another module, and you can create a collecting form. Basically what that means is your users can contribute items to your digital library. And this is the form that you create through this special module, and it is, see, and there's modules over here. And that might be somebody else's. I'm sorry if I'm stepping on toes, but it's showing up under Pages Management, so I'm just rolling with it. Collecting is so that you can create a form so that you can collect items that your users contribute to your digital library. So that's pretty cool. Reference, I couldn't get this to work either. I got an error. With Universal Viewer, nothing happened. It was just a big blank page. Reference, I actually got an error. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong with the modules. But this is so that you can add a reference for your item. So you can add a reference index, reference tree, or just the reference for the item. That makes for a really nice module. So if you want to really show where your items came from, then you can add that in. It looks really great. But that is everything about adding the blocks. So we're going to go ahead and save. Now, if you want, when you go back to Pages, you're like, well, that's a mess, and that's not at all, I can't use that anymore. You can click on it here to edit it, or you can delete it from here, or you can also delete it from in here. Now, if you saved it to navigation, you're going to get this nice little changes you made may not be saved. I discovered this because over here in navigation it says missing page. So then you just got to come over here and delete it out. But that's all. So that is Pages management. I'm sorry the last few things didn't really work for you. I'm hoping that maybe somebody else is doing those and will have better luck with them. But that is how you add everything into your pages. Thanks for listening.